What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Okay, so today is going to be the final installment of the Big Tech Small Town series, but fear not, it's not because the investigation is over, it's just because the investigation has gotten bigger than just Clarksville, and I'm going to kind of go through that a little bit toward the end of the show. But to finish off the series, I think that it is time to reveal my belief, and that is that this project wasn't just pushed through on the local level. And I have some receipts that I feel like give off that vibe to me. Also, I believe that I have found some contradictions with some of the statements that some of the officials in the city of Clarksville have made publicly online that they have contradicted, in my opinion, to me in public statements that I've gotten from them to my email inbox by emailing them directly, and we'll be going through those as well. So buckle up, all that and more coming on episode 5 of Big Tech Small Town.
Across the country, big tech is building massive facilities.
The construction of data centers is a growing political issue in Central Texas.
A data center boom.
Okay, so if y'all don't remember last episode, I mentioned a Facebook comment that the mayor of Clarksville, Mayor Rittier, had made to a family member of one of the families that originally owned a parcel of the land before the land was sold to the data center developers, where he mentioned that NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, were involved in the development of and the planning of this data center. He mentioned them as being involved, and then he also mentioned the Economic Development Act of 2017, an Arkansas piece of legislation that was also tied to this project. Well, for this last episode, I dug a little bit deeper on those, the Economic Development Act, and also reaching out to the city of Clarksville to clarify the comment that the mayor made on Facebook. So that is what we're going to go through today. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull up my handy dandy slideshow, share screen, and let me get this all pulled up for you here. Let's see. View slideshow. Okay. So here we go. There we go. All right. So investigation updates as of 6/29/26. I didn't update that date. That's when I originally planned on making this episode, but my sound's a little bit wonky. There we go. That's when I originally planned on making it, but I didn't end up getting to it then. So we're going through it now. But this is the last time I have updated this. Okay, so this is just a reminder. This is the mayor's Facebook statement that he made on November 24th, 2025. And he was responding to a comment on Facebook. And this comment was of a family member of the a family member of the family that owned the land, a parcel of the land before the developers had bought the land up. And he said, because the developer asked us to reach out to property owners they wanted to research. Yes, it was 3.5 years ago. Your family wasn't the only one they inquired about, but congratulations on the historic land deal. That may be the largest in Johnson County history. Much due diligence has been done. The city only facilitates what the business owners and investors want, and there are no ghosts here. We have met and spoken to all parties involved, and we're not operating in the dark. There are NDAs and state statutes surrounding economic development that direct what we can and cannot legally discuss publicly and when it's okay to do so. It's the Economic Development Act of 2017, and we follow those laws. So these are the key takeaways from this. In my view, these are the key takeaways from this comment. Number one, there were NDAs involved in the development of this project concerning the city. Number two, there was a certain amount of information that was not disclosed to the public due to the said NDAs and the Economic Development Act of 2017, like he said right here. There are NDAs and state statutes surrounding economic development that direct what we can and cannot legally discuss publicly. So that is that is translated as, it is because of the NDAs and the state statutes that some of the aspects of the development cannot be legally discussed publicly. Okay. And then number 3, the developers of the data center asked the city to reach out to property owners on their behalf. The city was researching property and reaching out to owners on behalf of the developers. He says that right here at the top. The developer asked us to reach out to property owners they wanted to research. Did they do it? One might ask. Yes, it was 3.5 years ago, and your family wasn't the only one they inquired about. Okay, so he says that the developers asked them to reach out, that they reached out to multiple families 3.5 years ago, so 3.5 years before November 24th, 2025, and that it was multiple families because this family wasn't the only one that they reached out to. Okay, so those are the 3 key, I think, solid takeaways we can take away from that comment. Factually, we can take away from and extract from that comment. Okay. So I sent an email clarification to the mayor and also to the HR representative for the city of Clarksville. I sent it to them together. I said, "Dear Mayor David Rittier and Miss Wynette Holland, I hope you're both doing well. As I continue reviewing records related to the data center project, I have a few follow-up questions based on public Facebook comments made by Mayor Rittier on November 24th, 2025. In that comment, Mayor Rittier stated, the developer asked the city to contact certain property owners and that there were NDAs and state statutes surrounding economic development that direct what we can and cannot legally discuss publicly. And when it's okay to do so, it's the Economic Develop Act of 2017. That was a quote from his comment. With that in mind, I would appreciate clarification on the following. 1. Did the city of Clarksville or any city official acting on behalf of the city sign one or more non-disclosure agreements related to this project? If so, who were the parties to those agreements, and are the agreements themselves public records? 2. When city officials contacted property owners at the developer's request, what information were city officials authorized to disclose regarding the identity of the developer, the intended use of the property, and the overall nature of the project? 3. In Mayor Rittier's comment, the Economic Development Act of 2017 is cited as one of the reasons information could not be publicly discussed. Was the city's impression that the act limited what officials could disclose to property owners during the communications, or were any such limitations based on contractual confidentiality agreements such as NDAs? If the city believes any requested information is exempt from disclosure, please cite the specific exemption being relied upon. Thank you for your time, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's what I sent. She answers. The HR representative answers. From the mayor, number 1, no NDA was signed by the city. Okay, it's really broad because I asked in the first one, did the city of Clarksville or any city official acting on behalf of the city sign one or more non-disclosure agreements or NDAs? She said the city didn't sign an NDA. Number 2, she said there were only introductions made between property owners and potential investors and clarified zoning questions. That's all there was, is what they say. The mayor says. And number 3, no. They did not interpret the Economic Development Act of 2017 as needing to withhold information from the public, and also that there was no non-disclosure agreement that was limiting what they could share with the what was it? What officials could disclose to property owners. Yeah, so there was no NDAs, or they never interpreted the Economic Development Act of 2017, making them hold back any information. So they're saying none of that is true. Okay, so let's compare and contrast the statements, because we've got the mayor officially saying through the HR representative seemingly one thing and something he said on Facebook that's seemingly a different thing. So let's compare and contrast, shall we, the 2 statements, the one made on Facebook and the one made directly to me through email from the city of Clarksville. So the mayor's Facebook statement says, number 1, there were NDAs involved. This is in my view. That's what I extracted from that. The city's official statement on behalf of the mayor, they said there was no NDAs involved. On the mayor's Facebook statement, I logically concluded, based on my reading of the comment, that the developers had the city reach out to landowners they wanted to research and facilitated what the developers or investors wanted. And then the city officially told me that the mayor said the city only introduced the developers, investors to landowners and answered zoning questions. And then number 3, the mayor's Facebook statement said the Economic Development Act of 2017 was cited as one of the reasons information could not be publicly discussed, along with the NDAs. Those 2 reasons together were a reason that there was some information held back to the property owners about this project. And they said in their statement to me, the Economic Development Act of 2017 was not a reason any information could not be publicly discussed. Okay, so obviously we've got 2 contrasting narratives here, and not, in my view, not both of them can be true at the same time. The city of Clarksville gave me a very different statement regarding what the mayor said and what the mayor on Facebook, and then what the mayor said on Facebook. Okay, so what the city is saying happened and what the mayor on Facebook is saying happened don't add up to me. Okay, and the mayor is the one speaking on behalf of the city through the HR representative. So we're getting 2 conflicting statements in my view. Okay. So then I was like, okay, what is this Economic Development Act of 2017? What does it really do? So I printed off a copy, I read it, I marked it up, I made notes, I researched it, and it's the Senate Bill 581, Arkansas Senate Bill 581 of 2017, and it was an act to enhance local economic development efforts and for other purposes. That's the title of it. And it is an amendment to the Arkansas Code Title 14, and that Arkansas Code Title 14 kind of covers the legal framework for local governments, okay? So let's go through a few of the things that this amendment to Title 14, Senate Bill 581, actually did. Number 1, it made it to where public money can be given to private companies. This instituted Arkansas Code Section 14-176-103. It allows cities and counties to appropriate taxpayer money to private corporations, individuals, nonprofits, and other entities for economic development projects and services, which in my view is corporate welfare. It's pretty stark corporate welfare that your tax money can be given to a big tech corporation. Number 2, it has really broad FOIA exemptions. It instituted Arkansas Code 14-176-104C. The act exempts records related to planning, site location, expansion operations, product developments, marketing, and files that would give an advantage to competitors or bidders from FOIA guidelines. Negotiations involving taxpayer dollars can occur largely outside the public view. Citizens may not know what is happening until decisions have already been made. Property owners may not be notified of the ultimate project. The law does not state an end of these FOIA exemptions. So very broad FOIA exemptions. And granted, the law doesn't say that the cities have to keep this stuff secret, but they have the ability to keep this stuff secret, which to me is just a open book. It is it's a dangling a carrot in front of corrupt politicians. Corrupt politicians and corrupt governments, local government leaders can use this to be extremely untransparent with the public, in my view. Number 3, government commissions the required economic studies. So it instituted Arkansas Code Section 14-176-104A, where projects involving more than $100,000 in local appropriations generally require an independent economic impact analysis and a cost-benefit analysis. The issue is the law tasks the local government officials with commissioning these studies for the project. So the local officials, want to approve this project. They want to appropriate money to this project through the Economic Development Act of 2017. And they say, well, hey, if it's over $100,000, the government of Arkansas Arkansas law requires you to have an independent economic study done. But guess what? You have the power to commission that study. So to me, this is a little bit of vacuum of power, because the same individuals that may want to push this project through and appropriate money also commission the independent study to be done, which in my view, leaves room for a little bit of quid pro quo there. because if the local governments are the ones wanting to push this project through, and they're also the ones that commission the studies of the economic impact of this project, they can obviously commission whatever person they want, independent place they want to do this research. And just saying, there is room for some quid pro quo in my view. Okay. And that is all I have on that thus far. I am going to take a minute at the end here to briefly go through a article. And this is an article that I shared on Facebook. And I said I was going to go through it. So I read this headline and I didn't really look much into it until this week. And the headline was Arkansas Lawmaker Forms Trade Association Focused on AI and Data Center Policy. Okay. So I was hearing about this new organization that was popping up to promote AI, to promote data centers, to promote all of these things, like things happening in Clarksville, where these big hyperscale data centers are coming into rural communities. And I was really interested to see who was behind these organizations. So I'm just going to read a little bit here. The Arkansas Connected Communities Association, a trade association focused on AI data center policy, was recently established to bring together stakeholders, communities, utilities, and industry to help Arkansas navigate new data center development. Depending on your perspective, data centers have the potential to be some of the biggest economic development opportunities in Arkansas has ever seen, yada, yada, yada. Get down to right here. This is where I'm interested. State Representative Aaron Pilkington, Republican District 45, is ARCC's executive director and says the trade association is pro data center. Its goal, guide state and local governments in seizing the economic opportunity data centers represent in a responsible way. Okay, so Aaron Pilkington. Who is Aaron Pilkington? Aaron Pilkington is the state representative to the Arkansas legislature for the district that Clarksville sits in. So, to sum it all up, we've got the Economic Development Act of 2017 that gives broad exemptions and green lights for local governments to push through projects using taxpayer money. They can hide certain bits of it, information of these projects happening from the public. And then we've got the representatives, the state government over these areas on a state level are creating organizations and doing things behind the scenes to try to push this AI data center technology down residents' throats who do not want it. And that is what is happening from everything that I have looked at. So this isn't just a local thing to Clarksville. This is going on a state level. And as I talked about, let me get out of screen share mode here real quick. As I talked about on the last couple of episodes, this server farm, the data center development company, is based in Israel. It is an Israeli, connected to an Israeli real estate company and owned by an Israeli real estate family, prominent Israeli real estate family that I am deep diving right now. So I have a very strong feeling based on the evidence that I've seen that this isn't only happening on the local level, it's happening on the state government level. But I have a feeling, and I'm going to continue prodding this and researching this, that it is actually going on a national level. This is a national, possibly international thing, these data centers being pushed going on right now. And I can kind of already tell that because, I didn't pull the article, but there's articles out there where the Department of Justice, Trump's Department of Justice, was creating a task force, I believe it's an FBI task force, to investigate anti-data center propaganda as possibly connected with China. So there is now a whole DOJ FBI group dedicated to looking into any groups that are speaking out against data centers. And so I have a lead in my mind that I'm going to continue to prod, that this is a national and international operation project going on. And so that is why I'm ending big tech small town, because it's become a little bit bigger than just a small town of Clarksville. It isn't because I'm leaving the investigation of data centers behind. It's just that the investigation's gotten bigger, and it's gotten way bigger than Clarksville. And I'm going to continue down that path where it leads me, and there will be more on the family behind the data center company server farm that is out of California but based in Israel and owned by a Israeli real estate family on next episode, or on the next episodes. So I hope to see you next time on Zachary and Unfiltered to cover all of that good stuff. If you want to support me, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Zach Reardon. I have the link right here below. If you have any tips, any information about server farm, about any of this, I'm still interested in this, how this moved through Clarksville. So if you still have any tips about the Clarksville project or any other project in Arkansas or surrounding states or really nationally, I'd love for you to send them to my inbox. That'd be ZachReardonMedia@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you and look over your leads and your tips that you send me. I've already had so many people, not only just in Clarksville, mostly in Clarksville, but also in other places where these data centers have gone in, send me tips and leads. And I really appreciate it. I really love my audience. I love you guys for watching and providing me with information and for supporting and sharing and liking. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm going to continue to prod this narrative that has been on my mind, and I'm going to continue to pick it apart till I can't pick it apart anymore. So I look forward to doing it, and I will see you all next time.